Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Reimagine 2021 conference series. I'm Roshan Mirajkar. I'm one of the project managers of the conference. And we've been doing this for the past 10 months or so. And the theme this time around is state of the art chain. So we're exploring the impact of NFTs and content creators. And I'm very excited to bring you a new guest today. So with me today, I have Erikan Obotetukudo, and she is the founder of the Crypto for Black Economic Empowerment organization. Um, Erikan, how about you start by introducing yourself? And we can start by just, I want to learn more about how you actually heard about crypto and blockchain and, how you got to where you are now.
All right. What's up, everybody? Erikan, so nice to meet you all. So nice to be here with you. So essentially, first of all, the markets are doing something funny right now. It's a swap meet out there, everybody. Anywho, so I first learned about, I have two original crypto stories. One of them is I grew up in California, and my family's from Nigeria, though, so like proud African. And I grew up in like a immigrant hodgepodge suburbia clan community, if you will. So we had like Vietnamese, we had Mexicans, we had Indians, we had Chinese, we had Nigerians, we had Black Americans, we had all American folk. Like everybody was in my community. And in my household, I felt like my household was Nigeria. Like outside, if you went on the sidewalk, that was America. But in our household, you were in Africa. Okay. And so one cool part of that was my family was always sending money back to Nigeria via Western Union. So I learned pretty early on that there was this movement of money that was not mainstream. There was this movement of money that wasn't like common discussion in your typical reality television show and how people just talk about like an American dream. I learned that there was a form of money or a way that money moves that was specific to my immigrant upbringing that was charged, that was active. And later on, I learned that Nigerians in the United States send $35 billion, like on a good year, $35 billion on a like an average year, probably like $26 billion every single year to Nigeria, just from the United States alone. Like, I don't know about you, but I'm sure that could be a whole budget to build a whole nation. I don't know about you, but that sounds like super big money to build bridges and roads. You know what I mean? And so when I learned that, many years later, I learned that like, oh, there's other forms of money than what, mainstream entertainment, American media tells us. And there's something unique about my own culture that gives me access to capital flows that most people are probably not aware of, but that I'm uniquely positioned to capitalize on. So that's not necessarily crypto, but it'll come up in the story a little bit later on in like a relationship with Western Union and understanding remittances and how much money these intermediaries and these third-party players take out of that $35 billion cut. So that's like my first exposure to like global capital flows as a little kid. That is like huge in terms of how I show up in the world today. Second part of my story, now this part is connected to crypto. I was in Nigeria 2015, a part of the startup ecosystem, working at multiple startups at the time, really excited about all the amazing things that was coming out of Nigeria. This was like the beginning of the gold rush of tech, if you will. And then the recession hit. And, Nigeria is an oil producing country, one of the largest oil producers in the world. If your car runs on gas, you likely got some Nigeria in your car right now. And, but there was a switcheroo. OPEC said, no, thank you. We're going to like shut it down for you, Nigeria. And so that led to a economic crisis. And I was in Nigeria trying to be on my startup grind. And it was a really strenuous time. And I actually had $12,000 worth of the local currency, Naira, in my backpack. And it was depreciating every single day. So like Cardi B has nothing on me in terms of like money bags. Like we had it. We had money bags on money bags, and all of that currency, that physical currency, was losing value every single day. And I tried to go to Western Union, tried to go to MoneyGram and say like, hey, give me dollars. I need to change this to dollars. And they said, no, there's a shutdown. There's a shortage of dollar in the entire nation. Nobody can get dollars because the Federal Reserve, the central bank, needs to hold on to the US dollar like gold. And I just was like, you mean to tell me the largest African nation, the largest Black nation in the world, currency is deflating so much, and the only currency that it can really hold on to feel like it's got a hold on its economy is the US dollar. So that let me know there's something about inflation, there's something about emerging markets' relationship with fiat currencies that is quite flawed, and Western Union and MoneyGram play this middleman role that not only gets like crazy fees on transactions, but also like is a gatekeeper on like how money from one of the richest countries in the world can actually show up as a powerful nation. And so all that to say that then led me to thinking about blockchain as I started to listen to the impact that it can have, particularly in emerging markets. Today, Nigeria is the second largest cryptocurrency market in the world. And from being a little kid to observing how much money the Nigerian diaspora in the US sends back to Nigeria, and then thinking about how the Nigerian government is so reliant on the United States currency to hold it afloat, it was obvious that like I needed to double down on crypto and blockchain for my own like countrymen, and obviously just how quickly they've taken it up as a technology, but also how it could transform literally global economies. So that's my impetus story.
Wow, I love that story, and it's great to hear that you have such a personal story and personal anecdote with this technology.
Yeah.
Because I think all different types of constituents and people, get involved in the industry. But I'm certainly more interested, especially with stories like yours, where I would say you found it not from interest, but kind of a necessity, right?
Oh yeah.
Especially coming from your country, and I think a lot of people in first world countries don't really see the impact of crypto and blockchain in other countries where it's even more needed and more
Yeah.
used.
Yeah.
Yeah, before we go too deep into like kind of getting more of your thoughts, I have a bunch of interesting questions for you. But
Yeah.
for our viewers out there, I wanted them to understand, what is the Crypto for Black Economic Empower movement or
Yeah.
organization? Tell us more about that.
Yes.
When it got started, and
Yeah.
yeah, some recent initiatives. What have you guys been doing with it?
All right, so it lends itself to another great story. So essentially, CBEE, Crypto for Black Economic Empowerment, it's a movement, it's a family, it's a turn up crew, it's a party, it's a squad, it's all those good things of Black folk, of African folk who are crypto founders, investors, and artists from across 20 countries, 5 continents. We're about 150 folks, essentially around the world, who are building really amazing companies, building great initiatives, and building great art around the world. And we got started really as a few college kids, college folks coming together, myself and a dear friend from college. His name is Kai. We had a conversation at the end of 2020, just being like, we need to build a community of Black people getting into crypto because this is going to be a huge wealth accelerator for anybody who participates. And for reasons that are like incredibly unfortunate, Black people around the world, but especially in the United States, have been incredibly blocked and prevented from any economic upward mobility. And if crypto can be that way to close the egregious wealth gap and like, hey, even catch up on some reparations, then like we should build that community to make it possible for them. So myself and him and so many other people, largely from our alma mater, decided that we were going to band together. So in a very short period of time, we officially got started in about December. And by February, we had reached 100 folks, all entrepreneurs, all investors and artists, and from around the world in such a short period of time. And we created a Telegram group so that we can really sort of exchange ideas, shout each other out, amplify each other's investments, make investments into each other all over the world. So we've got folks in there from Costa Rica, Dominican Republic, Uganda, Rwanda, Ethiopia, Atlanta, New York, all over the place. And that is a really special thing because as a Black person in this world or a person of African descent in this world, our communities are very much fragmented all over the place. We have this vast diaspora, and we go through a lot of similar challenges in different parts of the world that we're in, but it is almost rare and almost impossible sometimes to feel like you could be like a part of one global Black community where everyone can be on the same page and be moving forward and literally creating the future so that it best reflects us and benefits us. So it's essentially shows up as a mastermind where, frankly, I like to say this jokingly, but like not really joking, we're kind of plotting world domination, and I'm like, we love to see it. And so so that's that. In terms of some amazing case studies and areas that I'm most proud of in our community, in February there's a member of our community called Micah Johnson, phenomenal former baseball player turned artist, who released one of his first NFTs for the year. He had already been doing NFTs last year, but this was just before the Beeple pandemonium and just before NFTs became a part of the mainstream. And he came to our community and said, hey, I'm dropping this NFT, would love the support of this community to enable its success. And we said, absolutely. So we gathered all of our friends, all of our own selves. We got onto Clubhouse and we all showed up, essentially demonstrating our collective power as a Black community around the world, as our Black community that has economic power. And within 1 minute, we helped, and Micah himself was able to generate $1 million in 1 minute for his NFT sales. Within 28 hours generated $2 million. So, Micah's an amazing, amazing artist, and we were just happy to be there. But that was just a huge demonstration of what a community of people who are all focused on like things that have never existed before, creating opportunities that we've never been given by any external power to us before. It was just an example of what we could create together if we just mobilize and we just show up. And so that was one major milestone. We've had folks see 75x on their crypto portfolios in our community, going from $10,000 investments to $750K in assets under management, under their own portfolio. There's various folks raising a fund. I'm actively raising a fund right now focused on crypto across Africa. So we had somebody just mentioned in the Wall Street Journal today. So it's just amazing. And if anybody that's listening wants to learn more, you can go to CBEE.xyz. Come hang out with us. We're a good crew, and we just want to create the future that doesn't exist for us, and we want to have a good time doing it.
It's a great community that you've started, and yeah, congrats on all of the success. That's no small success, as many people will tell you in the industry and even outside the industry. And that's what I'm really excited to also get your thoughts on about. I think that NFTs have sort of served as this new mechanism of getting new people interested. Some people think it's bad in terms of like some of the valuations and people spending this much on NFTs. But then you also have the group that think it's a good entrance for people to get into the space.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people have only been exposed to the blockchain and crypto industry only through financial means at first. But NFTs seem like a new medium of approach. So I kind of wanted to ask you, why do you think NFTs have seen this surge of interest? Like, do you think it's because they might serve as a way to circumnavigate a lot of the gatekeepers that we see in like traditional finance, in terms of all you need is a computer or an idea? Like, where do you think this interest is coming from? Why are people so interested?
Yeah, I mean, fundamentally, people are interested because of a few reasons. But one, we're still sort of in a recession. Like there's still people who got laid off. This pandemic has transformed everybody's life, making incredible economic hardship for literally the majority of the people on the planet. And so anything that shows a sign of opportunity, a sign of hope, and a sign for people to put money into their pockets without needing to get approval, without needing to be picked or selected or dawned worthy of wealth, of assets that can grow in value for them, I think people are going to mobilize around it. And on top of that, it's fun, it's creative, it's artistic. And I think crypto is generally like this wonderland for people who like for outliers, frankly, for people who've been told you're not supposed to do this. Like if you're going to be in finance or if you're going to make money, you need to do it the safe route. You need to go this route. You need to go to these traditional means. And those traditional means are headaches. Like there's constant delays. Like my Fidelity account, we appreciate Fidelity, no shade or anything like that. But like, golly, it takes me forever just to pull my money out. It's my money. I want to move my money one way or another, but you have to go through brokers and you have to call them and do all these different things. So I think after a year of being cooped up in the house, we're fed up with all of the barriers. We're fed up with all of the sort of people and individuals and institutions that, frankly, for folks like myself, have always created hurdles and barriers to access our own money, to grow our money, and to invest in our own money and on our own cultures. So NFTs are cool because you can, in the artistic realm, and NFTs aren't only applicable to art, but that's where it's most popular right now. Anybody who has a creative effort or idea or a tweet or something that they believe to be valuable can create a community around them, aka get their first 10 fans, their first 100 fans, their first 1,000 fans, and directly say, hey, this thing that I would have kind of done for free on Instagram, on Twitter, on YouTube, I'm going to make it into an NFT. And those same people that would have liked, or those same people that would have commented, or those same people that would have subscribed can instead put their money behind this project. And that creator, that originator of that asset can make that money immediately with minimal middlemen taking fees and things like that. And so that creator, that originator of that IP immediately gets the money off of a community that they've created that they would have otherwise had on a TikTok, a YouTube, or a Twitter account that made them no money, but in this moment get immediate satisfaction and validation on their works. And then on the flip side, that very community, those fans, those followers that would have otherwise just passively scrolled on, say, an Instagram, can now be owners in the same work of that they would have followed on another platform. So I feel like NFTs are the new wave of ownership, and it turning ownership into like the like button, the like, comment, and subscribe. So NFTs and ownership in general is the new like, comment, and subscribe. So it's meaningful on both sides. There's a group of people who can say, you know what, I believe in this person's IP, their intelligence, their creativity, the things that they do, the access that they're going to give me, the value that it adds to my own investment portfolio. And I think long term, this thing that I'm investing in is going to grow in value. So I'm going to get in early. I'm going to participate early and benefit from the trade on that investment now or later. And then that creator then gets royalties and instant cash on the things that they would have created regardless, free on another platform with more barriers and more sort of rules prohibiting them from accessing their true creative capital and their true intellectual capital. So it's really meaningful, and it's a dynamic tool for sure.
Yeah, it's like permissionless ownership, and it's never really been done in this way ever before in history, I would say. Like you've always had different parts, like maybe the market existed, but then the mechanism of trust or trustlessness didn't exist, right? Like for people to actually trust something. So now we actually have it existing. And yeah, I agree with most of your points that you said. It's definitely super powerful, and people are only beginning to unlock the power of something like NFTs.
Yeah,
So
it's
kind of like,
imperfect though. Still, it's still flawed. Just put a little devil's advocate on that too. Mm-hmm.
yep, exactly. I want to dive a little bit deeper into this to get your future thoughts. Like a specific question I had was like, do you think in traditional art models, or I would say like creator models, it's always been the case where like the constituents at the top own the intellectual property of the creators, I would say. So do you think with NFTs, like we'll just see more traditional like music distribution content models decentralize and give the power back to the people? Like what would you like to see? Should it be balanced, or do you think that like this whole creator economy, just we need to create a new one.
Mm.
Because I'll ask you a little bit more about that in a couple of minutes, but yeah, I want to get your thoughts on
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. So my dreams for the future are that, certainly the power is in the hands of the people. If you could think about all of the people, for example, who created some sort of artwork around a George Floyd, for example, all of those people could have turned those works into an NFT, and the same viral nature that would have that was around the artistic expression. I think we don't really acknowledge how much everyday people mobilize around the world to bring attention to a issue and a cause. But at the same time, that same, like, turning those works into NFTs enables artists who create activism, artists who drive movements around the world, to gain some form of compensation and or support from a community of people that believe in that artwork. And whether it's that as an example, or if you're thinking in general about all of the amazing creators around the world who've created things, who've had an impact on our daily lives, but never capture the value on what they are able to do for us. If you think about hip hop artists, for example, some of the founding fathers of hip hop are not seeing the benefits of, a Super Bowl performance that generates billions of dollars for Sprite and, the Super Bowl itself, considering that they're using hip hop in all of their branding to, like, promote the Super Bowl or promote their brand. Now, instead, today, that same artist can create something, and the same fans that would have loved the commercial now get to put the money right into the artist's hands and not have to wait, hopefully, to get a small check to be a part of a multi-billion-dollar campaign that boosts the revenues for Sprite or Nike. So I think that these brands they're not going to let themselves be cut out. I mean, these are legacy companies, these are legacy institutions, but I think there's going to be increasingly more vehicles that enable regular people and artists and folks who've generally been cut out from a lot of capital flows, value chains, to get at least a piece. And my hope is that there's a little bit more of a shift to more of the middle. I don't know if full power will go to the average person, but I think a nice medium is possible and urgent and necessary, because frankly, let's just be honest, we're increasingly needing jobs less. Like, I know there's an initiative or a need to, like, create more jobs, but, like, frankly, technology is actually minimizing the need for jobs. So people are going to need to find a new way to make money. And so I think it's important to think about NFTs as a tool to help more people see a revenue model for themselves. Now creators can be their own economy. Now creators can get movie deals on their own without needing agents and managers. Now you could be somebody who loves music, who creates music, and slowly but surely, after consistency over time, you can build an audience, the same audience you would have on SoundCloud, same audience you would have on Spotify. But now all of those audience members are owners in your success. They're owners in your catalog, and they're excited to see you ascend over time by supporting you financially, but also fundamentally loving your creativity. So I do think with gas fees and, like, the process for minting and generally the technology gap, is it's not going to lead to this, like, landslide of a bunch of people creating stuff and, creating economic opportunity. So I do have some genuine concerns that this is still kind of perpetuating certain biases of opportunity for a certain category of folks, particularly racial, ethnically. But that's why CBEE exists. We want to make sure that more people that look like you and I, frankly, are able to not miss this moment, are able to find the pathways and connect with the people that they need in order to take advantage, so they can be leaders in their communities, so that others and their community see them and then learn the pathway forward as well.
Yeah, that's a great point that you made. And I think it's always good to be realistic in terms of, like, if a lot of the things that people are building on these different blockchains, or even at the application layer, if many of the times, if it's too costly, I think, like, a lot of projects should step back and really think about, is, like, technologically, do they, in what they're building, does it line up with their values, frankly. I loved your story at the beginning of like what you actually saw in terms of remittances.
Mhm.
And it's still like one of the largest transactional by volume, like money transactions all over the world.
I think it's a
So I
$689 billion market.
yeah,
Like,
that's a lot. And
let me just hang out there. Yeah.
and when you even look at who's actually doing those transactions versus who's pocketing the
Mm,
transaction fees, yeah,
right.
you can see that like a lot of the large banks at the top are pocketing all of that. So
Yeah.
I thought it was interesting what you touched on with communities, how you're sort of building this community. Do you think that the current system, the current financial system we have, is repairable, or do you kind of see blockchains as creating like new nations and new brands of maybe
Yes.
possibly people like kind of like what you're doing, right? You have this community of people. So do you actually think that like people will just disconnect from the traditional finance and build their own economy if they haven't already?
Well, I definitely encourage it. I don't think anything that's existed for 10, 20, 40, 100 years is going to go away tomorrow. I think that blockchain creates an opportunity, especially given how creator friendly it is, to literally create new ways of everybody on this planet showing up. So, NFTs is an example of that, where you could say, I'm going to create something. And if people like it, they'll become owners in it. And if this thing that I create goes up in value, those very owners can flip it and they can make money off of the thing that they believed in me on. And I can get a royalty anytime it's flipped. And at the same time, I can make money every single time that I put out work directly without anybody in the middle. That is something that, I'm sure somebody at some point 15, 20 years ago dreamed up and was like, no way, that's not possible. Like, who knows how anyone would even do that? But today, here we are. So I think that fundamentally, I think about blockchain as land. I think about, we are in the third generation of the internet. And right now, if you think about land and real estate in the physical world, it's fixed, it's limited, it's precious, it's rare. But if you think about the digital world, there is more that has not been created in the world than what exists today on the internet. And if you just think about that, like there's more that has yet to be created. So if more blockchain technology is created, then that actually creates more land for people to build on top of. And I think those things that people build on top of will make that blockchain infrastructure, and of course the things on top of it, the equivalents of like new cities and nations on the internet, or in a similar fashion, new brands. So you as a creator could drop this podcast right now, 10 people, 100 people, instead of like, commenting, or subscribing to this, could say, I believe in him. I'm going to put $10 on this. I'm going to put $100 on this podcast. I'm going to put $1,000 on this podcast. 10 years from now, you blow up, you become a crypto billionaire, whatever your situation is. Those same initial people feel proud of having purchased this particular episode as a part of your catalog, being a part of your success. They now benefit from the upside of your success long term, but now you have this allegiance. You have this community of people who have been riding with you for 10 years and who were there in the beginning. That is a new job. That is a new revenue model for yourself. That's a new way to pay your bills. That's a new way to buy a house. That's a new way to just engage with individuals who believe in you to now create the sustainability that you need to live your life. And that means you are not maybe chasing that manager role at a Fortune 500. That means that big brand may not know how to. That means that big brand may struggle to. Get in the middle of you and your audience. So I think that at the end of the day, what's ahead of us is really exciting. There's so much more to be created. And I think, frankly, a lot of folks are actually kind of participating in groupthink right now. So I think a lot of people are like super focused on NFTs. They're super focused on DeFi. And I think I want to encourage more people to be even more gutsy and even more like crazy with their ideas, because literally it's just the code. It's between you and the code. Like, you tell the code this gnarly idea that you think that you just have one random dream. And this is the moment in life where those crazy ideas are so possible. So listen, who knows what the future holds, but I know that like a lot of things are possible. And I don't think any existing entity is gonna like completely flatten or go down, but I do think things are flattening. And I think as more people, hopefully the next 100, once we have 100 million people like actively using the blockchain, that's when it's gonna be a nice little soap opera, okay? Because that's when, listen, all of the big corporations, all of the big financial institutions are going to be shaking in their boots, hopefully participating and enabling the transformation. But like, they won't have critical mass anymore. They won't be the de facto. If I could give you $1,000 without anybody really taking a crazy cut out of that, why would I go to a centralized platform as my de facto way of moving money or moving my IP or moving assets? So, should be fun.
Yeah, no, I definitely liked your balanced thoughts, and I think that's the correct way to look at it. What's great is that most of this decentralized technology that's already been built, like blockchains that have been running for, yeah, 8, 9, 10 years. Now there might be traditional players coming in to maybe integrate those blockchains,
Yes.
but you can't really control them from the bottom up anymore. Or a lot of these things have already
Yes.
passed critical mass, as you mentioned. And I definitely think it's a positive for the industry overall, because if I think they are threatened, I agree with
Okay.
you.
Totally.
Just because a lot of their markets and shops, they're only open like regular stock market trading
Wow.
hours, right? And so our industry is like catching up day by day by day, because you just get more transactions.
Transaction.
You have like this open marketplace, open creator economy that's open 24/7. I kind of
And
want to just go ahead.
can I add one more? Can I add one more? So
Go
the good
ahead, do
part,
it. Yeah.
the great part about it, and this is the thing with cryptocurrency, is that you can participate anywhere in the world on the same currency. So it's like if you had rupees versus dollar, there's immediately a barrier because of foreign exchange, because of laws that prevent one transaction from going one direction or another. If everybody around the world just has Ethereum, or if everybody in the world just has Solana, or if everybody just has Rally, for example, then there aren't all of these barriers that prevent them from transacting and doing business with each other. So I think the like Achilles heel, frankly, of a lot of institutions is their negligence of the global economy, their negligence of how people can have the same currency and do things across borders regardless of their location. And I think that will enable people to achieve critical mass in ways that no person sitting perched up on their C-suite executive chair is paying attention to, because they're so blinded by this notion of like USD. They're so blinded by like euro, and it's like that. None of that stuff matters in this world. If someone likes something, if somebody wants to participate in something, it doesn't matter what time zone, it doesn't matter what country, it doesn't matter what their nationality is, whether they can get a visa to come to your country or not. It doesn't matter. They can transact, they can share, they can be a part of an economic community that has never existed before. And I think that is the part that is like most dangerous about the everyday person coming together with another everyday person from around the world, but also something that larger institutions should pay attention to and embrace.
No, I absolutely love that thought that you just said. And it just had me thinking while you're talking. You're absolutely right. Like, you can kind of participate in these different nations or communities. They're all different coins
Yeah,
created in different countries, but
yeah,
you're not restricted by the rules and regulations that a centralized government has imposed. And there's many of them. For like, you can't own land in some parts of the country, or I'm sure this problem too. Like, back in Africa and back in India. Like, there's so much wealth, I would say, that hasn't been like tokenized, or you can't give
yes,
a value to. It hasn't been unlocked, right? That's
yes,
that's like a theme I'm getting from just this
yes,
interview with you. Like, we need to unlock more value. I want to highlight, like, kind of like, tell us about who you have in your group and community, so that people can sort of get a better understanding of the magnitude and the
yes.
close knit group you have.
Oh, ooh, I'm getting chills just thinking about it. Woo! Okay, well, I'm nervous about isolating, any one person versus another, but I'll say we have a wide gamut of minds for sure. So we have folks who are very deep in DeFi. We have people who are building lending technologies, or building. We have people in the community who are building who are geniuses in yield farming, and who are trying to scale that knowledge, scale that technology across emerging markets around the world, certainly across the US, but certainly even they're thinking big. People are thinking global first, which is super exciting. So, I'm really just like super blown away by the people in the DeFi world in this community. So if you are somebody who identifies and is curious about DeFi, we've got folks in that community who are building, multi-billion-dollar protocols. There's a gentleman named Sean. I'll just call out a few people. There's a gentleman named Sean. He is one of the co-founders of Storage. Storage recently listed on Coinbase. So we have a member in our community who you can access their token on Coinbase. And I think that's pretty cool. We should actually celebrate things like that more often. That's essentially like your company has like IPO'd, or your company has directly listed on this centralized exchange. That's a pretty big deal. And that means that your idea, your blockchain technology is now widely accessible to people. And frankly, I think what's most important about that is once you are listed on an exchange, it really becomes a matter of branding. Like, people just need to know why they should get behind your particular token versus another token. So that's really exciting. Let's see, we've got folks across Nigeria who are building like the Amex, the American Express card experience for the avid crypto users in Nigeria. That company is called Bundle Africa. I'm really, really excited by a company called Raise that's out in Kenya, I believe. They're the Carta for crypto. So they are creating the sort of like cap table experience so that different companies who are raising capital, venture capital around the world, can better understand their cap table in a crypto economy, in a crypto world. We have Crypto Tutors, which is a platform to help people understand how to buy and invest in stable coins. We have First Boulevard, which is a platform that is committed to eradicating the Black wealth gap in the United States. Oh boy, we have Aku, like I mentioned earlier. Aku is the project by Micah Johnson, which is showing this amazing, really cool Black kid who dreams of going to space, and they just got picked up for exclusive rights in Hollywood. So I'm sure a film is on the way with Aku, and so that's really cool. Excited to be a part owner in Aku. That's really cool. I know we have some creator coins in the community. So there's an amazing person named X Tina Holder in the group. She's behind the woman coin. So you can go to rally.io and buy her creator token. So we have individuals too. Not everybody's a company. Some people are just like, I have my own creator token. I have my own social token. If you believe in me, like, invest in my token and we can distribute this token widely across our specific community. So there's so many different tools and ways. We have Roll, Bradley Miles. He's the founder of Roll, which is another social token, kind of Goldman Sachs of creators, if you will. Oh boy, we have so many more people. 150 strong. Everybody's a giant in there. So yeah, and hopefully, if you're watching, hopefully we have you. We want to welcome you.
Yeah, so to end things off, thanks for going through that list. It sounds like a great community. To end things off, why don't you tell everyone, where should they go to learn more about your organization, and maybe how can they get in touch with you? I'm sure a lot of the viewers watching, like, they love all the interesting ideas that you're saying, and
Yeah.
people always want to know how they can connect.
Oh, yeah. All right. Well, you can find us as a community, as a mob, as a squad on on the internet, cbee.xyz, crypto for Black economic empowerment, cbee.xyz. You can also find us on Twitter at CBEE movement. We are ramping up that Twitter account, so hold on to your seatbelts. Lots of good stuff coming. So excited. We recently just got accepted into the US Digital Chamber of Commerce. So we are standing amongst amazing other blockchain and crypto giants. And so we're excited to be there, excited to be partners. You can learn more about me at Hey Erikan on Instagram and Twitter. I'm most active on Twitter, so come hang out with me there. DM's always open. Super CBEE and Eric myself are very active on Clubhouse as well. So you can find me at Erikan on Clubhouse, and CBEE has a vibrant group club on Clubhouse. And otherwise, when you go to our website, cbee.xyz, there's a button for you to join our mastermind, a very brief application to just like confirm how best we can serve you and make you a part of the community. And that'll give you access to our Discord group. And then also there's our newsletter. You could go to our website again and drop your email. And if you're just learning and you just want to understand, regardless of your racial, ethnic background, feel free to join our email newsletter. And we're going to continue to publish some of the amazing milestones of members in our community. So you get to see people that, are look like you, are smart just like you, doing really cool things. And hopefully this expands the lexicon, the vanguard of leaders in this crypto blockchain movement, because hey, we have our eyes on the next 100 years. We are all full gas cylinders ready to go, and we just want to do it with other people. So let's run together.
Yep, don't miss out on this community. Very excited to see what you guys do in the coming months and years. Erikan, thank you so much for your time here today. I had a wonderful time interviewing you, and I
Yeah.
think it's very inspirational and transparent. I'm Roshan, your host, and I'll let you all tune back into Reimagine 2021. Thank you.
Thanks, Roshan. Appreciate you so much.